Everyone thinks that they know Japan's most famous food. It's sushi. It's always sushi. Raw fish, perfectly vinegared rice, tiny portions, prices ranging from the extremely affordable to the obscenely expensive, and everything in between. The global symbol of Japanese food culture. Except, it's not the favorite anymore. According to a recent food satisfaction survey by the Japan Tourism Agency, sushi just got bumped out of the top spot. And not even by some fancy luxury dish. It got beaten by a bowl of noodles. Yep, ramen. And not only that, sushi didn't even come in second. It finished third. So today we're answering one big delicious question. Why did ramen pass sushi as foreign tourists' favorite food in Japan? And who beat both of them to make it to number one? Let's find out. First, let's talk numbers, because this is not just about taste. Japan's ramen industry is absolutely booming right now. Analysts estimate that the market is about to hit nearly 8 billion yen per year, which is roughly 53 million US dollars. That's about 60% growth compared to just 10 years ago. And, according to the official government survey published in March, when foreign visitors were asked what food or drink they felt the most satisfied with during their trip to Japan, ramen scored 18.9%. Sushi came in at 14.5%. For a country that's built half its modern food reputation on sushi, that's a bit crazy. Before we break down the why, let's do a super quick, simple history of our two main categories we're investigating, sushi and ramen. Sushi actually started as a way to preserve fish using fermented rice hundreds of years ago. What we recognize today as modern sushi really took shape in Tokyo during the Edo period, when speedy street food became a thing. Over time, it transformed from fast food into fancy food, and now it's one of Japan's strongest global cultural exports. Ramen, on the other hand, is a relative newcomer. It came from Chinese noodle soup traditions and slowly evolved into something distinctly Japanese during the 20th century. After World War II, ramen exploded in popularity as cheap, filling comfort food. Since then, each region has built its own style, its own broth, its own personality. Ramen is chaotic, creative, and constantly evolving. So now, both of these are deeply rooted in Japanese food culture. But the tourists have made their choice. What's fascinating is that sushi and ramen actually scored very close to each other in almost every category. Over 95% of ramen fans said it was delicious. Over 92% of sushi fans said the same. Fresh ingredients? Sushi absolutely dominated that category. Traditional and uniquely Japanese? They were basically tied. Presentation? Sushi still wears the crown. So at first glance, sushi isn't losing because it's worse. It's losing for something more psychological than flavor. One reason ramen won is simple: hype. Ramen is a global food trend right now. It's on Netflix, it's on YouTube, it's on TikTok. It's being featured by foodies around the world on social media. Nearly 17% of ramen voters specifically said they chose it because it's famous and popular. Sushi? Sushi's already famous. It's almost too famous. Doesn't feel like a discovery anymore. But the biggest reason ramen pulled ahead is even more interesting. Tourists say, I can't find a flavor like this in my home country. Now, think about sushi for a moment. You can find sushi in almost every major city in the world. Even small towns have at least one sushi place now. You've probably eaten tuna, salmon, yellowtail, shrimp, maybe even sea urchin before you ever stepped foot in Japan. Yes, the sushi in Japan is usually more authentic. I won't say fresher because surprisingly a lot of the best sushi is not really fresh, but frozen or refrigerated for some time before serving. And yes, it's usually higher quality, and yes, it's almost always better, but it's often a better version of something you already know. Ramen is different. Sure, you can buy instant ramen anywhere, but restaurant quality Japanese regional ramen, that's a completely different universe. In northern Japan, you get thick, rich miso-based ramen with heavy noodles. In southern Japan, especially around Fukuoka, you get tonkotsu ramen with creamy pork bone broth and thin, firm noodles. Shoyu or soy-based ramen and shio or salt-based ramen are standards throughout the country, but every region has its own personality and makes its own versions, its own obsession, its own rules. In big cities in Japan, you can walk 5 minutes and enter a completely new ramen world, full of varieties and styles. In places like Akihabara, you'll find beef broth ramen so intense it feels illegal. And then there's Jiro-style ramen, which looks like a science experiment. Pork, garlic, fat, and noodles stacked into one terrifying beautiful mountain. And I personally can't get enough of tantan men, or spicy noodles with a myriad of different varieties shop by shop. That kind of experience can't always be replicated outside of Japan. So for tourists, ramen often feels like a real discovery, and not refinement. There's also the flavor bomb factor. Ramen is loud, it's rich, it's salty, it's oily, it punches your tongue and asks you if you want seconds. Sushi is subtle, it's quiet, it asks you to pay attention to it. For many travelers, especially first-timers, ramen simply delivers a faster, stronger emotional reaction. You don't need to be trained to appreciate it. You just slurp it and your brain goes, yes, this is happiness. And with the weak yen making Japan more affordable lately, Japan is attracting a broader range of travelers. Not everyone arrives ready to fall in love with raw fish, or even fish in general, which would be considered very suspicious in many countries throughout the world. Some people just want something warm, comforting, and familiar adjacent. Enter noodles. Now this is where things get really interesting. If ramen is second, and sushi is third, what took first place? Beef or meat dishes in Japan. Straight up meat dishes came in at number 1, chosen by 32.3% of respondents. Nearly 1 in 3 foreign tourists said meat was the most satisfying food they ate in Japan. Meat can be cooked in so many different ways and in so many different dishes in Japan. My favorite is yakiniku. Then there is shabu shabu, sukiyaki, teppanyaki, gyudon, barbecued skewered beef, hambag or hamburger steak, though in Japan it's usually a pork-beef combo. And the biggest star of the category is obviously Wagyu beef. Japan's Wagyu isn't just beef, it's a luxury experience. The fat melts at body temperature, the marbling looks fake, and when it hits the grill, people get quiet. Almost everyone who chose meat said it was delicious. Nearly half mentioned freshness, and more than 22% said something very honest. This is already a kind of food I like. In other words, while sushi and ramen involve learning flavors, textures, and cultural rules, meat just walks right into your comfort zone and then completely outperforms your expectations. You don't need a tutorial for how to eat steak. And when that steak happens to be A5 Wagyu, grilled 2 inches from your face by a friendly and professional chef, that memory sticks. So let's zoom out. Sushi is refined. Ramen is exciting. And meat is comforting and explosive. Foreign tourists aren't rejecting sushi. They're just choosing novelty, intensity, and emotional payoff first. Sushi is still deeply respected, it's still iconic, it's still beautiful. But ramen feels like discovery, and meat feels like reward. It's also worth mentioning that the data for this came from the Japan Tourism Agency and was reported through the Yomiuri Shimbun. So this isn't just internet vibes. This is official, large-scale government survey data. And the timing makes sense. Ramen tourism is now literally a thing. There are guided ramen walking tours in Tokyo where travelers hit multiple shops in one day, comparing broths like wine tasters. In a strange way, this also shows how Japanese food culture has globalized in layers. Sushi was the first wave. It spread worldwide and it became the ambassador. Ramen is the second wave, more niche, more regional, more experimental. And now meat, especially Wagyu, is becoming the luxury symbol of Japan's next global food identity. Japan isn't losing its culinary crown, it's multiplying it. So the next time someone says, "Do you go to Japan for sushi?" you can smile and say, "Actually, the world is currently obsessed with ramen and deeply, spiritually in love with Japanese beef. And sushi? Sushi's still there. It's quiet, perfect, waiting patiently in third place." If you enjoyed this deep dive into Japan's food culture evolution, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Which would you choose first in Japan? Ramen, sushi, or Wagyu?